Hi everyone, this is Stephanie Barta, and I'm doing a product knowledge video on Kane Miller bestsellers, and I'm going to start with two new titles that I know are going to be bestsellers because they're super adorable. We're going to start with Busy Trucks on the Go by Eric Ode, who also did Dan the Taxi Man, and it is very rhyming, and it goes through and talks about what all the busy trucks do. It talks about digger trucks and cement mixers and bulldozers and all different kinds of trucks on the farm, tow trucks, and then at the end, now it's time to stop and rest. Busy trucks have done their best. Moon and stars are shining bright. Busy trucks will say good night. So it's a good nighttime story, and it rhymes the whole way through, and it is great vocabulary because it's introducing lots of new different kinds of trucks and vehicles. So that's Busy Trucks on the Go. Next is I'm a Dirty Dinosaur. The artist rendered the drawings with real mud, so that's kind of a fun little fact. Dirty dinosaur. I'm a dirty dinosaur with a dirty snout. I never wipe it clean, I just sniff and snuff about. Sniff, snuff, sniff and snuff about. So it's got that sing-songy rhyming that keeps kids really engaged and listening to what's going to come next. And then it also is going through vocabulary of animal body parts, snout, dirty face. I just shake about the place, talk about his tummy, and it can be interactive too. He taps his tummy like a drum so the kids can participate. He's got dirty feet. And then at the end, I'm a dirty dinosaur. I'm yucky. Oh my gosh. I think I'll stomp right to the swamp and give myself a wash. So super cute, sing-songy rhyming, and keeps kids engaged with gross motor actions if necessary. Next is the infamous or the famous Everyone Poops. Good for potty training. Goes through talking about how all different animals make all different kinds and how they do it in different places. Some do it here and there, some do it in a special place. And then at the end it says everyone eats, or all living things eat, so everyone poops. I know this was helpful for potty training for my son. Next is Why. Why is a fun book because it has factual answers and silly answers. So it goes through talking about different animals and asking questions. For example, why do hyenas laugh? And then there's a silly answer. They have a screw loose. Because they're childish, it says. But then over here, it gives the factual answer, and it says they don't. But when excited or when being attacked, a spotted hyena will make a giggling noise that sounds like a person laughing. And it gives a little more information than that. So it's just a silly answer and a real answer, which is kind of fun for the kids. Why are zebras striped? Why do whales spout water? So it's their runny nose. They always have a cold. And then it gives a real answer about why they have spouts. And so it goes through talking about different animals, a rhino, a camel, a crocodile. So that's a fun way to get kids learning real information, but staying engaged because it's got silly answers as well. Next is One Night in the Zoo. One Night in the Zoo has really beautiful illustrations and is a silly story as well. It goes through saying, one magical moonlit night in the zoo, an elephant jumped in the air and flew, but nobody knew. So you can see how, you can hear how it rhymes and has really soft, pretty pictures. Then a crocodile and a kangaroo set off on a bicycle made for two. So it goes through saying all the silly things that the animals do, and then at the end, it gives you a little counting page to practice counting skills. So that's One Night in the Zoo. Next we have Boom Ba. Boom Ba is a fun introduction to making your own musical instruments. So it starts with a simple ting, and it's the mouse hitting a spoon against a cup. And then it says, shh, listen. What's that sound? And that is repeated throughout, which I think is really good to get the kids to pay attention again if they maybe have flitted off into Never Never Land. Shh, listen, it's going to grab their attention and get them back engaged in the story. And then it's adding tong, and then a bell, a can, some lids, a cup, ting tong, warming up. So the animals are making a band and using common household items to make their instruments, which you could obviously extend as an activity with your children or in a classroom or at a library setting. So this is a really great book that has the potential to be interactive as well. And it goes on, and then at the end, they find a marching band. And so it's also introducing real instruments and what they look like and how they're really noisy. And so it's just a fun, silly story with a lot of extension possibilities. Next I have You Choose, and You Choose is very similar to Just Imagine. You Choose essentially can be a different story every time the child reads it. It starts off with, if you could go anywhere, where would you go? So outer space, to the mountains, to the beach, to the city. So you start off by creating a setting for your story, and then who would you like for family and friends? So you're choosing characters. And then it's talking about what kind of house would you live in, what kind of things would be in your house, what would you eat. So fun, bright pictures, never-ending possibilities, and Just Imagine is very similar in that way. It has the fun, bright pictures, and Just Imagine if you were big as a giant, small as a mouse, then possibilities of things to do. And so it can be different every single time, really keeps kids interested and making choices, which is also a really good thing for young children. Now for some books for some of the older kids, we have Conspiracy 365. This is a whole series, starts with January, goes through all the months of the year, and then there's even a couple of additional titles as well. And this is recommended for 10 to 15-year-olds, and it's good for reluctant readers because it's a nonstop, action-packed book, but it's not too long, so it doesn't seem super overwhelming to them. And the way the book is designed, there are some space on the edges, so it's not overwhelming for the reader. And again, keeps them interested and engaged because it's so action-packed. They want to keep figuring out what's coming next. And then it goes through chronologically, and it says like the day or the time of day and what's happening. And so they could read a little tiny piece of what happens, or they could read a whole bunch of them. So they can kind of pick and choose how they want to read this book, this series. And then we have also a new release, The Debt, a six book series, and it's recommended for ages 12 and up. And it's about a boy who on his 15th birthday finds out that he has to repay this debt, and if he doesn't, he will lose a pound of flesh. So it's all these different crazy things that he has to do to repay this debt that is a family debt, and in order to save himself from losing a pound of flesh. So it's really engaging, really keeps you on your toes, makes you want to know what's happening next. So those are some of the Kane Miller bestsellers, and I hope you found this helpful. Thank you very much.